Hey folks, welcome back to Mears Lab. In today's episode, I'd like to share with you the Mears Lab way of tuning drums. But before we get started, let's just play a few beats. So I walked into the lab this morning and I hopped on the kit and started to play a bit. And I just, this rack tom right here. Well, it sounds great and everything, but there's something that bugs me, and it's really stupid, but the logo on it is like over here, and I really want the logo to be over there. And the reason why is because this rack tom is actually supposed to be over here on that side. And this one down here, which is the 10-inch tom, this is a 12-inch one right here. This is the 10-inch one, and it's the one that's supposed to go on my left, which would probably be like your right, I think. Yeah. So I originally put the 12-inch on the kit because I really like to keep my drums tuned pretty low. But lately I've been wanting to kind of change that up a bit. And now my theory is I want to have a wider range of pitches available on the kit, because my kick drum is the sort of the lowest pitch. Then I would have the snare drum, which is sort of like the mid-range pitch to me. This is the one that's sort of right in the middle. It's the backbeat, right? I like to tune my floor tom really nice and deep so that it gets like a really big, like, kind of a sound to it. And see, the thing is with the rack tom here is it sounds good, like I said, but I think I want to have a higher pitch available right there. And then I also get the logo in the front of the drum. And that's kind of the way it's supposed to be set up anyways. And I like to just use a 4-piece kit. I don't like to have a 5-piece. I like to have my ride right there. So in this video, I'm going to take the 12-inch tom off the kit and I'm going to replace it with the 10-inch. But the 10-inch isn't tuned yet. So I want to teach you how I like to tune my drums in this video. And I thought that it would be a good idea to do that right now with the 10-inch tom. So let's get started. There we go. Oh, that's way better, yeah. Get that logo right there. Whoa. Down there. There we go. And I'm gonna have to get this all set up and everything for where it needs to be. So, you know what, I'm not gonna worry too much about its position just yet. I'll get that fixed up here in a moment. I just want to focus on the tuning for right now. So here we go. Let's put it right there. So here's how we're going to get started. We're just going to use one stick, and we're going to use a drum key. And I'm just going to point out that this tom right here, it's just got the stock tom head on it. This is an Imperial Star kit, and it's just got 6 lugs on it as well too. So I'm going to get started by actually just loosening them all the way until they're all nice and loose, like pretty much just I can turn them with my fingers without having to use the key, sort of an idea. And I really just want to start from that area right there, where so the head is basically completely, totally loose. Like for example, I could actually take the head and I can spin it in it. And by the way, that's a really good idea to do that right now. Because what you can do is you can take your logo on the head and you can line it up with the logo on the drum. And that just makes it look really nice and neat and tidy. Okay, so first, just pick any lug to start with. Doesn't matter. And what you're going to do is you're just going to start to tension it until you just start to feel a bit of resistance. That's all you're going to do. We're not worrying about pitch right now. All we're worrying about is just trying to get equal tension on all of these. Forget about pitch right now. We just want to get equal tension. So that's all we're going to do. We're just going to tighten them up like that one until it just starts to get a little snug. Then we're going to go all the way across. And then we're going to do that one. Same thing. And then we're going to go back to the one we started at. And then we're going to go to the lug to the left of that. Okay? Then we're going to do the same thing with that. Tighten it up until it just starts to get a bit of tension on it. Then we're going to do the one across from that. And then we're going to do the last two. And we're just going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to go back to that last one. And then we're going to go one lug to the left. Tension it a bit. And then tension this one. Okay. And it doesn't matter that we haven't even hit the drum yet, because this is like the minimum tension that you could have on the drum to even produce a sound out of it. You know, it actually doesn't even sound all that half bad right now, just like that, eh? But I think that we can get it to sound better. Now we're ready for the next step in the tuning. So let's go back to the very first lug, which is this one that's closest to me. That's usually how I start, with whatever lug is closest to me. That way if I forget, it's easy to remember, right? Just use whatever lug is closest to me. Okay, so what I want to do right now is we need to get all of the lugs sort of in the same ballpark of the tension that we want them to all have around the end. We're still not really paying attention to pitch right now, but we are just listening for it a little bit. What we're really listening for right now is volume. That is the number one thing we want to look out for right now. This is sort of like roughly tuning it right now, if you will. So what we're doing is we're just listening for whatever sort of note hops out of the drum. What sort of just sounds loudest and biggest and fullest to us. And then we're just going to leave it there. So we're just going to start with this one. And we're going to hit it. And then once we find that loudest note that just feels right to us, then we're going to leave it and we'll move on to the next lug and we're going to do that same thing. And then we're going to go in the same order we did the first time. And then we're just going to keep tuning all of them over and over again until we get the loudest note out of the drum possible. Okay? That is what our goal is right now. Just to get the loudest note. The pitch doesn't matter yet, okay? But it will. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so before I go to the next lug, I always loosen it off a little bit before I go up in tension. And the reason I do that is because I want to make sure that I'm hitting the exact most loudest note, okay? And it might be just below where I had the tension set before, right? So I have to go down to go right up just to meet it exactly in the right spot, okay? So let's keep going. What you're going to find when you're tuning is that it might be a little hard to tell what is the loudest tension on each one of these lugs. And the best I can figure why that is because I think that there's kind of two competing loudest notes happening in the drum. And the reason why that is because there's two heads on the drum and they both have their individual tensions, okay? So I think ideally you would want to have both heads tuned exactly the same to each other So I guess theoretically it would probably be better to start by only having one head on the drum so you're not getting confused by the other head. But another thing you could do is you could also just muffle the bottom head. Then you can hear the pitch that you're getting out of the drum. Sometimes when I'm tuning, I actually will just do it right on top of my leg. And you know what? That's what I'm going to do right now. Check it out. And that's just a quick and easy way to get the bottom head muffled, okay? Because you can just rest it on your leg like that, okay? This is gonna really help me to get the loudest note out of the drum now. Where'd my drum key go? Oh. Man, that happens all the time. Okay, let's go for it, okay? It's like right around there. All right, now we're talking. Now we are at the sort of the loudest sort of area of range in the drum, okay? And that's important to know because the drum is going to have a resonant note and we need to find out what that is. And what the effect of the most resonant note is it's the loudest note, the most sensitive one. And the reason that's important is because that's going to give us a lot more sort of dynamic range to play with the drum, and that just allows us to express ourselves far more creatively, and it's just much more satisfying to play that way, and it makes us happier, right? So yeah, that's the whole point to me explaining this sort of thing to you, I guess. So anyways, let's just keep going here, okay? This is kind of fun because now this is where we are getting the pitch of the drum right, okay? Because we have the loudest note, now we need to go and just get it tuned to the note that sounds right, you know? And sometimes you could make like a chord or something like that. Like if you wanted to make say a C chord, you would use a C note, and then you would use an E note, and what's the other one? A D note, is that right? No, G. C, E, and G, that's right. So maybe you would like tune your bass drum to the low C, and maybe you would tune like your floor tom to the E, and then maybe you would tune this one to a G if you were doing that. But I'm not gonna bother getting into all that pitch stuff. I just wanna go for what sounds best to my ears because, hey, this is my drum kit in the Mears Lab studio, and I just want it to sound like how I just naturally want it to sound like, you know? But I think it is still a good idea to be aware of things like, you know, the notes and pitches and chords, because there could be a time in your life where it comes up where you might need to know that sort of thing. And it's not that complicated anyways. But anyways, let's get going here, okay? So let's go. One of the other really nice things I found about tuning this way is you tend to get like a really pure tone out of the drum. Like the actual note that comes out sounds really pure. And I'm not going to get really too far into the tech part of this, but the reason why that is because when all of the lugs have the exact same tension, it means that the top of the drum is sort of it's not moving as rapidly, okay? The frequencies are much more pure. It looks, well, it's much more closely resembles a sine wave is what it is. And a sine wave is like the frequency that most resembles the natural movements of energy within nature, like electricity and water and wind and things like that. So if you want your drums to feel like nature, then tune the heads to sine waves, okay? I know that sounds techie. Sorry, but it's not nearly as complicated as it sounds. The only way, or the way that you get there is you just make all of the lugs sound like they're the same volume first, and then you make them sound like they're all the same pitch. And if you do those two things, then your drums will be as powerful as Mother Nature. Anyways, so this drum's only halfway there right now, okay? Let's just put it on and play it a little bit right now, and then let's tune the bottom of it and see what it sounds like after that. Oh boy, it's starting to sound good. Okay, so now we can tune the bottom head, and this is a little trick I like to use for that. Because remember I said before, in my opinion, I like to have both heads tuned the same, because I feel like that's going to help us achieve that sine wave, loudest note, most powerful, widest dynamic range sort of idea. But I will let you know that that does make things a heck of a lot more complicated, because instead of having to keep 6 lugs at the exact same tension, now you've doubled that to 12 lugs, okay? And there's literally at least twice as many variables to go wrong. But don't get overwhelmed. Just give it a try. It's not nearly as hard as it sounds. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's not good. Okay, so, oh, we got a problem here. Okay, well, you know what? Whatever. I'll work with it, okay? So I know that you're not going to be able to see this drum very well, but you can hear the drum, and that's really what matters, right? So, here we go. Remember, I got to loosen all the lugs off here first. Just get to that minimum tension, right? Okay, loosening off the lugs, getting the minimum tension. Okay. Now we're going to start with the closest lug, and we're going to tune it up until we hear the loudest note. You know, there's another way that you'll know that it's the loudest note. And just keep this in mind. It takes quite a long time to develop your ears so that you can actually hear this stuff. But it does get easier with time. It does get a lot easier. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it as well. So just trust me, it is going to work out, okay? You will be able to tune your drums really awesome, okay? I'm still learning, and I find it's really fun sort of figuring out all of these things that help me to understand what makes drums sound so good. So like I was saying, something else you can do if you're having trouble finding what the most loudest note is just go with the one that sounds the best to you, honestly. It's your drum. Just make it sound like what sounds best to you. I'm just trying to share with you the sort of the science behind what makes your drum sound the way it sounds. So let's keep going. Okay, now we've got the bottom head tuned up to the sort of the proper bass tension. We've got the loudest note located, and now we just need to move on to the final step, and that's just bringing it up to that final pitch. And that's going to take all of the lugs here, and we're going to make them so that they're all an equal amount of tension, so that we have that perfect sine wave, that perfectly cohesive, in harmony with nature bottom head. And it's also in perfect harmony with the top head. They're both the exact same pitch. So let's do that now. Okay, I'd say that we should be just about ready to go here now. So let's flip that around and get that like that. There we go. And, you know, I'm just gonna actually get that like that a little bit. Oh, you know what? I think I need to adjust the positioning just a little bit here too. Let's move that memory lock there. And so this is how I get the position set up here, just right. Okay, just gonna start with this sort of in the middle, right there, and I'll just tighten it up. And then I'm just gonna get it roughly in the right area. So how you know it's roughly in the right area is you first get the drum out of the way, and then you sit how you like to sit when you're playing drums, and then you put your arm where you want it to go when you want it to hit the drum. And then that's where you put the drum. Okay, but it's not going to go there, so that means I have to move my arm down like that, and then you want it to hit the middle of the drum, right? And then, so if you're wondering the angle, well, you want it to be basically the flattest that you can get it without your stick hitting the rim all the time, okay? So I like to leave about an inch between the bottom of my stick and the top of the rim, like the top of the bottom of the rim or whatever. Anyway, so like say right there, so I'll just kind of hold it there, maybe move it up just a little bit in case under its own weight it drops down a little bit more. Tighten that up, and there we go. Okay, so remember how it was also a little bit too low a second ago? Well, I know that it's sort of roughly in the right spot here now, so now I can raise it up a little bit higher. Okay, so remember I wanted it to be right about there, so I need to raise it up maybe 2 or 3 inches. So I don't have a lot left here, so I'll just go right up to the top of it. Okay, there we go, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to readjust the ball here, okay? So this is where I like to play. That's where I want to hit it, right there. And so right about there, and right about like that, I think is the best way for me. Okay, so let's tighten that up. Okay, folks, I think that we're ready to give it a go now. Okay, let's hear, whoops. Let's hear how it sounds. I'm so excited to hear what this is going to sound like. Here we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, let's hear what it sounds like against the floor tom now, okay? Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video where we learned how to tune acoustic drums over here at Mears Lab. If you liked it, then don't forget to hit the like button. And if you want to see more, well, don't forget to subscribe to the Mears Lab channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.